How has bookkeeping and accounting evolved with outsourcing, or how has outsourcing evolved with bookkeeping and accounting? Two different questions, two sides of the same coin. It's an interesting point, right? Because as with everything, one can drive the other, and probably has in both cases. It's weird because I've been around outsourcing and sort of shared services, collective shared services for, wow, over 20 years ago when I first got into it and worked on it. And back then it was only big companies. It was really only large organisations that did that. But over the last 20 something years, there's been more and more of those have evolved, and it's now available to much smaller businesses. We work with, or we've worked with much smaller accounting practices, only 5 or 6 people or less that have set up some outsourced resources in far-flung locations. Obviously, from a cost perspective, it's a lot cheaper to get people in lower cost locations, places like India, Manila, and other places like that. And it's interesting because I don't think necessarily the nature of the work has changed, but obviously they've been able to put more resources for a lower cost, produce an output with a high margin. However, there's always a dark side to every cloud, and there's challenges with it certainly, but maybe we'll come on to some of those later on. The firms have been exploring outsourcing, cheaper resources, more of them for the same output. There's obviously downsides. You get sacrificed maybe on quality, reputation with clients, errors, things like that. They can be the downside of doing outsourcing. You get what you pay for. We've seen prices down as low as £6 to £8 an hour for a full qualified experienced accountant. That's crazy. You do get what you pay for, unfortunately. And so it's not always the panacea that everyone thinks it's going to be. I think I've seen several studies, ACCA, CIMA, ICAW, they've all done studies and reported that very high numbers, really high numbers, up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, are not necessarily satisfied with the outcome and the performance and the quality that they get. We've talked to several firms. They've talked about repatriating their processes, their work, their activities back to their offices here in the United Kingdom. And they've said they would like to use bots in order to achieve that. So bots are another lever. They are the next lever for accounting firms and any other business who uses outsource to pull, because bots will do the same thing that you'll get in low-cost locations in outsourcing, but they won't make errors. They'll work 24/7, 365, so the hourly rate is comparable, but the quality is better, and you get to control inputs, outputs of everything that goes on, and therefore you own the data. It's more secure, there's less data issues and cyber controls that they have to worry about. So overall, that's where things are starting to go. If I was an outsourcer, I'd be worried. I'd probably be thinking about how do we use automation and bots in a better way. Other than that, the implications are lower costs, higher margins, better profit, lower errors, higher client satisfaction, higher staff morale. And that's probably the biggest thing for me. Do you know what? You can talk all day about it's going to save money, it's going to save time, it's going to save cost. But you know what? When work is, pardon my French, crap, it's crap for everyone, no matter who does it, no matter where they do it. Bad work is bad work. Unfulfilled, boring, mundane, repetitive work is not good for anyone's mental health or soul, no matter who does it, no matter where they do it in the world. So there is a larger question at stake, is do we want anyone to be doing the kind of stuff that people end up doing, especially in outsource centres, right? There's a better way. People are better than this. We don't need to be robotic. Let's use great people with great skills for better things. Bottom line.